Fist flying, no bounds. Podcast kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, spills, nights get loud. Big EQP, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on a Thursday. I don't know why I had to think about that. It's a Thursday. It's been a weird week already, a long week. And I'm glad we're at the end. I need the weekend. I need these fights. I need these fights to happen. We got Noche UFC, UFC Noche, whichever way you want to call it. But we got that happening on Saturday. Earlier fight card. Not super early like last week, but earlier. And then later on in the night on Saturday, we have Canelo versus Crawford for the big boxing match that is going to be promoted by Dana White and whatever they're calling it, Zuffa Boxing, TKO Boxing. I don't even know at this point, but yeah, Dana White's at the head of the promotion for all that. So we got some big things happening this weekend, and you know, I've heard a lot of mixed emotions on everything from the fight cards being garbage as far as everything under the main event, but it seems like everyone thinks that the main events are good. And I agree. And I don't know if I agree about the entire card being trash, but it's definitely not like a UFC Noche that we've had before. Even the first one was, I don't know, I guess it was more geared towards, you know, the Mexican fighters and stuff like that. I think this one having being moved around, basically. It was supposed to happen in Guadalajara, and it's not now. So now it's in San Antonio, Texas, which, you know, is fine to me. I think it's like whatever. They couldn't get the venue done in time in Mexico, so they moved it. And on top of that, they had this Canelo versus Crawford card, which traditionally Canelo fights on Mexican Independence Day weekend / blah blah blah, whatever, however you want to say it. It's always around this time. There hasn't been too many times that he hasn't fought around this time. So, you know, with that going on and Dana White promoting the event and all that, you know, getting going with the boxing, you know, Noche UFC took a back seat, and it's fine. It's fine. I mean, what I think we all wanted, what I think people might be missing with this is that everyone thought Diego Lopes was going to be fighting Yair Rodriguez. That would have made a lot of sense for this fight. And that's just because of it being Noche UFC. And, you know, when it was going to happen in Mexico, it would have made a lot of sense. Diego Lopes, kind of half Mexico, half Brazil. He's from Brazil, but he trains in Mexico and speaks fluent Spanish and everything like that. So he's he's immersed in that culture. And on top of that, you got Yair Rodriguez, which is obviously straight up from Mexico. So that would, and they have beef. They have mad beef. So the last time they were at a press conference together, they talked a lot of shit. What up, Big Boars MMA? Welcome in. Appreciate you for coming back. How you doing? Yeah, so, you know, all that beef they had going on, I think everyone thought that would be the fight to make, and they didn't make it. Yesterday was the worst day to witness. Yeah, man, I don't really want to get too much into it, but, you know, there's a couple different things. Happy we got Noche Plus Boxing. Yeah, no doubt, bro. I'm so happy. You know, a couple things, as my dogs bark, that I heard that in my headphones. So, couple things though. I mean, today, it's another one of those big days. It's like, I think 24th anniversary of 9/11, because it is quite literally 9/11 today, September 11th. So, you know, there's always, I guess, as the distance from the event happens, it gets less and less that you know, see it going around, but everyone still talks about it and posts about it and stuff like that. You know, never forget all that stuff, terrorism and everything like that happened. But yeah, in the come up to this, we had another crazy event that just happened yesterday. Multiple things that happened yesterday. These school shootings, they get out of hand, and there's just too many of them. Too much crap going on with that. I mean, our kids should be safe in school, and instead you're constantly hearing about these stupid things that happen at schools. And then obviously politics, it's a whole other discussion and story, but tragedy on all parts. And yeah, I don't really want to get into it, man. Like, it's one of those things. It's too volatile, it's too toxic. I don't like to talk about religion. I don't like to talk about politics because I don't involve myself in all that stuff. It's bad. It's bad because the world has made it that way. So, yeah, if anybody blames me for not wanting to talk about it, well, I'm sorry. But yeah, we have to stay in this together to push through. The works is in the bad time right now. Oh, the world is it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 100%. Big Boars, I agree. And it sucks because it causes a rift between people, and instead of being united, everyone's worried about what they think and how they feel at the moment, and your feelings are validated in any which way possible, except hopefully not through violence. And that's what yeah, it's just, yeah, we talk about violent sports here, but this is a sport. So uh yeah, it's to I see what you wrote, but I was gonna say TikTok because I was just watching some TikToks, but YT is not gonna let you show that. But oh man, I mean, it's funny because it looks like a toy, so that's why I'm laughing. See, but this is what I mean. It's like, it's so like you just don't know what to do because of everything. So that's why I wasn't even gonna bring it up. Big Boars, no, like fault of your own. It's a big thing. It's everywhere. So I'm not saying anything. Thanks, Tua. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not saying anything against you bringing it up. It's just I knew it was gonna come up. I just wanted to make a quick statement about it and then move on. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, man, it just sucks. Like, the world sucks right now, bro. Like, I hate this shit. I hate it for my kids. I hate it for other people's kids. I hate it for our families and everybody. I hate that we have to go through this shit. I mean, it's one thing and another to disagree on shit, but to take it to this extent in any which way possible. Someone not being able to deal with their own feelings in their own head, someone not being able to deal with things in their life, and and I get it, everything's rough, but it doesn't matter if it has to do with politics or just whatever. You shouldn't have to go to those extents and to deal with things. And yeah, it's bad. It's bad. All of it's bad. And then to think about 9/11 and the shit that happened and how united the world was after that event. It shouldn't take an event like that for this world to come together and just be good people. And this is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, and it gets questionable when you start looking at things like this. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to go down that path. But I appreciate the interaction. Obviously, as usual, I will speak about it, but past this, I won't. So anybody else, if they come in later and they say something, I'm gonna say I already talked about it. You're gonna have to go back and see what my thoughts at the moment were. But I don't really want to keep getting into that. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure I was gonna say anything, so at least I got to say something. It's just too touchy, man. It's just too touchy. So we'll stick to the good shit here. Bud versus Canelo, who you got personally? Man, I'm gonna get into this right off the bat. So I'll break it down a little further, but I haven't really made a choice. So I haven't really made a choice. That's my biggest thing. Young Charles got 10-8. Canelo. What is it? Young Charles? What? Canelo too big? Yeah. So that's part of the thing. Canelo is bigger. What's Crawford jumping up like 2 weight classes, I think. So, but fuck, man, it's tough. It's a tough one. I haven't fully made up my mind. Part of me wants to say, hey, how can you doubt Canelo? But he's got a lot of miles on him. He's got a lot of miles on him. So, but Crawford's older. So it's a toss up, man. It's a tough one to call. 20 pounds, huh? Shit. I was gonna look that up and I forgot. I knew he was up in weight. It was just like one of those things where that's what everyone's talking about is the weight difference. So no matter what happens, it's gonna be Canelo won because he's bigger and he's a weight bully and whatever. And then people are gonna say, whatever they want. It is what it is. I'm gonna get into it here in a minute, but before I go too far, I want to make sure I give Noctane my Canelo pressures. Yeah, that is a big deal right there. Matuo said it. That pressure is a big thing, and it's a matter of whether Crawford can deal with it or not. But if he can't and he gets slept for some reason, he can get some Noctane smelling salts because that's my sponsor. Noctane smelling salts, check it out. I definitely need this right now so I can get away from this this little somber mood and get things going here. So let's go ahead and take a nice big whiff of this smelling salts. I'm gonna go right in, so this might be rough. I'm hoping it works. Don't be a pussy. Let's go. Oh my god. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Oh, oh, that was a good one. So if you have if I annoy you in any which way, it's got to be very, very great for you to watch me get that reaction. But you know what? It's fun to watch people react to smelling salts. You know when it gets me good when my eyes are this watery. There's sometimes that I get it, but it's not that great. And I'm like, I don't want to go in again because it's going to be rough. But yeah, there's a lot of times when that shit'll hit, and you can tell it hit me good when my eyes are this watery. So Noctane smelling salts, scan that QR code. Appreciate the sponsorship. There's a link in the description below. Go get yourself a bottle. That is the most potent one, which is why it hit me so hard. There's two other potencies, a mid-range one and a lower range one, if you want to kind of ease your way in. But check it out. It's good for a lot of different reasons, and I mean, a lot of different uses, I should say. But I use it a lot to stay alert and awake. And if I'm on a long drive, it keeps me awake too. So it's good shit. So go check it out. Appreciate you, Noctane, for the sponsorship. When you get to their main page of their website, go all the way down to the bottom. You can see proudly sponsoring Going Rounds podcast. That's me. So thank you for that. And yeah, other than all of the bullshit going on around the world right now, we got some fights to get to. So that's what I'm here for. As you can see in the background of my video there, I got the Mexican flag going. It's a Mexican themed weekend. So oh shit, before I go too far, I got to cue this up, because how can we get through the Mexican themed weekend and not have the proper, oh shit. Yeah, I'm crickets to fucking me trying to get the sounds up. I clicked the sound while I was doing it like a big dummy. There we go. All right. So let's kick it off. Let's get it going. And let's talk about, well, actually, I'm not going to talk about Canelo Crawford first. I almost jumped right into that. Let's talk about crickets. That makes it even funnier, too. Let's get into some Dana White's Contender Series before we hit up the Mexican weekend coming up. So we had Dana White's Contender Series happening on Tuesday nights. And, every week on Tuesday, we get Dana White's Contender Series. And the first week started off a bit rough, and I'm pretty sure if you watched it, it was tough. It was a tough one to watch, and Dana White was not happy whatsoever with the first week. So everyone that came in the second week made up for it, and it was a bunch of finishes. It was a bunch of great fights. And then last week was another one. Good fights all around. And then we get into this week where everybody got a contract. As you can see there in that top right picture, contract winners, all 5. We had 5 fights for the lead up. We had 5 winners for the contracts. So it was a good night of fights. And we will start off with the women. Carol Foro versus Chanel Dyer. Man, this was like, I was listening to the commentary, and they were connecting I think it's Foro. I don't know how the fuck to say her name, but Foro, they were saying was like Jessica Andrade, like back in the day. Yeah, that's what. There you go, Tua. You said it right at the same time. She looked like her. I mean, she looked like her fighting too. She's stalking her prey. She's throwing heavy fucking hands, heavy hands, holy shit. And she'll walk to you like some fucking, like she's a 300-pound fucking yoked out motherfucker, and then she's balled up her fist, and then she just hits the fuck out of you. I was like, damn, dude, this girl is about it. But Chanel Dyer has some great kicks, man. She has some great kicks. She has some length to her, and she used it. Excellent combinations from the lead hand. Yeah, she definitely worked those combinations, and sometimes she just loaded up and threw a huge shot and landed, and she just fucking was a crazy ass out there. It was cool. I mean, it's weird because she was calm, but she was just like, she was like fucking what do you call it, like not Jason, but Michael Myers in The Mask, where he's just walking at you with a knife. That was her, but with her fists. And she dropped Dyer like twice in the first round, once in the second round. She busted open Dyer's face in the first round, huge gash over her eyebrow. So Foro slowed down in the second round, and that gave Dyer a little bit of time to recover, and was able to stay in the fight a little bit. And then we got to the third round, and Foro just turned it up again. I don't think she dropped her again in the third, but she definitely did work, and she winds up getting the win by unanimous decision. Dana White stood up and was happy with it, and liked the performance, and gave her the contract. So there was your fight number one, contract number one. Next up, we had oh shit, you know what I just realized? How did I miss that? Weird. So Foro and Dyer got the contract winners. How come I didn't notice that earlier? That's all right. I love the Contender Series more than the UFC cards we had. Hey, that's true for a lot of them, honestly, because they just get right to it, man. There's no bullshit. They get there and get to it. I just realized that the two women got the contracts. So I was just catching up on this because I just had some stuff going on throughout the week. So I was slowly catching up between yesterday and today. And I didn't even pay attention to the fact that one of them did not get one of the fights did not get a contract. So the two women got the contract, and then we had the next fight, Samuel Sanchez versus Chasen Blair, and this one was the Phantom Knockout. I'm sure you saw it somewhere. Vidal is going to be back on Contender by the end of the series. Yeah, so that's who didn't get the. So he was a Longo fighter. So, you know, like Matt Serra and Ray Longo. But yeah, that was not the most impressive fight, but he was huge, and he got tired and he got a little sloppy, but he still wound up bringing out a submission with the rear naked choke. So that was the fight that didn't get the contract. So that's my bad. I didn't even realize it. But yeah, Samuel Sanchez versus Chasen Blair. Got to 2 minutes and 1 second of the first round. TKO right hook by Sanchez. Man, he was fast, and he was just fucking doing work, and basically got the Phantom Knockout because he was throwing combinations and basically missed like 3 out of the 4 punches. But the one he went to the body, and then I think he caught him with a right hook, and then he threw a few more punches, and it was like a delayed reaction by Blair, and he dropped to the ground and was out. It was such a crazy weird knockout. But yeah, Samuel Sanchez gets a KO win in that one. Vidal is the one that didn't get the contract, but he got the submission by rear naked choke in the third round. It wasn't a super impressive fight, but he kind of threw himself backwards and brought Franco onto him. So he kind of grabbed him, pulled him on top of him, and usually that's a horrible thing to do. But he wound up catching him with a choke, rear naked choke, and put him to sleep, like a quick sleep, but he did. And he didn't get the contract, but like Boris said, he'll be back. I think he's just got a little bit of work to do, maybe work on that cardio a little bit, and just tighten things up, and I think he'll be back and ready to go. So then we had what I saw everywhere, everyone saying, and it's the goddamn truth. Laren Douglas caught a body, and that body was Cam Teague. I'm not sure how to say his name, but yeah, man, Douglas, 36 seconds into the first round, comes out swinging. They're exchanging. He fucking drops Teague, and Teague falls over. The ref damn near trips over his head, and the ref's trying to control himself and not fall to the ground. Teague can't catch a break, lost to Viejos, and now Douglas. Yeah, man, that sucks for him too, especially to be getting these opportunities and not and just running into walls. But 36 seconds into the first round, after the ref just basically stomps on his head and trips all over him, Douglas follows up as Teague gets up and just knocks him out fucking cold. Just flatlined, body drop, over. Dead bodies everywhere. That's what it looked like, man. It was a crazy knockout. I couldn't believe it. It was nuts. And that took us to the main event. Steven Asplund versus Anthony Guracio. And I mean, Asplund was like, I think they said something upwards of 400 to close to 500 pounds at one point in time. You could see it in all of the extra skin he had going. But he just came out crazy too. 16 seconds into the first round, and just knocks out Guracio, finishes him with elbows on the ground, gets a quick win, and then says some crazy shit on the mic afterwards, talking about give him a chance. Dana White, I'll do anything, Dana White. I'll suck your toes. I was like, what the fuck? And then he's like, oh, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'll do anything. Just give me that contract. I was like, damn. Not a good look when then, Dana White turns around and gives you the contract. It's like, wait, do I still got to suck your toes? I was just kidding. What the fuck? I was like, man, this was nasty. But yeah, so that, I mean, dude, Dana White's Contender Series has been fucking hot since week 2. Week 1, again, not great. Asplund gut looks funny. Yeah, bro, it's because he fucking weighed so much before. And when you lose that much weight, man, yeah, you get a lot of extra skin. And yeah, homeboy just, but he can fight. He can fight. I mean, it's not like it's the most technical, tight fucking striking, but he's got power, and he could do something with it. And he's a character. He's got a personality. So that's what the UFC is looking for. And the heavyweight division needs talent, needs some kind of a uplift, because Tom Aspinall can't just fight the same guys over and over again. So we need more guys. So it's good that they're bringing in some big heavyweights that have a personality and can do something with it. Heavyweight division needs new guys, so it's good to see him get a quick KO. Hell yeah, Boris. Exactly what I'm saying. So we're on the same level here, man. This is good shit. So yeah, Dana White's Contender Series. Don't fucking miss it next week. I mean, I keep forgetting to preview it on Sundays, but Sundays are for recaps, man. I stick to the recaps and recapping what happened the night before, especially on weekends like this where we got two big events. So who gives a shit about the preview of Dana White's Contender Series? For me, I don't care. I'm just going to sit down and watch the fights, and then we'll recap it after, because, you got to watch the fights to catch what happens. Listen to them as they talk a little bit. You get to know them a little bit, but the biggest thing is see how they fight, see if they get the contract, and then be on the lookout for them in the UFC and with whatever fight they get next as they start their contract. So that's all I care about. So the lead up to it is what it is. I understand if you're betting on it and stuff, you gotta have the preview and see what's going on, but I don't do any of that at this point. So yeah, but I'm always gonna recap it because shit, it's been good, man, and I can't remember the last time it was this good. So I'm happy about that. So let's keep it going. Dana White's Contender Series, appreciate that for sure. All right, so let's get into Canelo versus Crawford. I can play that because I'm Mexican. I don't know what I'm doing, man. It's just, that's a sound I had for a while because we were always making jokes on another podcast I was on about the fact that I was the Mexican dude in the group. So I always played the music. It was funny. But yeah, we got Canelo versus Crawford happening this Saturday. Fucking huge event happening in Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, a fucking stadium event of all things. And man, it's this fight's big. This fight's big. That's really all that can be said about it, because of obviously it's Canelo. And when it comes to Canelo, It's always a big fight. And, you know, the way that he's been fighting over the past few fights is, you know, kind of like looking like he's maybe not lost a step, but I would say, I don't know, taking it easy, kind of taking just chilling a little bit, just kind of going through the motions, against William Skull, against a couple of other Cinnamon versus Crawfish. Tua, where do you come up with this shit, bro? Oh my god.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
That's what I think of when I said oops. That's what I think of when because yeah, you come up with this shit quick, man. That shit is hilarious. But yeah, so we got Canelo versus Crawford. And yeah, it's gonna be a good one, man. I just feel like Canelo maybe hasn't felt challenged by these other opportunities. I'm not sure, but it just kind of seems like he's been just chilling. And maybe this is the big name he needs to come out, the one that people are like, hey, can Canelo actually beat him? Maybe Crawford could actually beat Canelo. So Terrence Crawford coming up in weight, going to fight for the undisputed super middleweight title, 168 versus Canelo Alvarez. 63-2 for Canelo Alvarez, and then 41-0 for Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford is undefeated, so that's a lot of the reason why, you know, people are wondering how this fight's gonna go, because you got the guy who's undefeated but is what did we say earlier, like 20 pounds lighter, usually fights a couple divisions down, whatever it is. I don't keep track of boxing that often. Their weight classes are a little out of the realm of what I can keep up with because I just keep up with MMA so much. So and I get those confused too, but yeah, so with Crawford being the smaller guy but older but undefeated, there's a lot of things going on in the mix here. So the undercard, we have a few fights that I recognize. Leading with the co-main event, we have King Callum Walsh versus Fernando Vargas Jr. And if you don't know who Callum Walsh is, that lucky motherfucker is the the boyfriend of Tabitha Ricci. So yeah, if you know who Tabitha Ricci is, you know why I call him lucky. But he is a favorite of Dana White for sure. Dana White is all up on those nuts, and he likes it. So, but I think he does have potential to be a big star if he takes advantage of it. It sounds to me like a lot of people don't have a lot of confidence in his skills moving into the upper echelon of, you know, boxing and moving up with competition. But for the most part, a lot of hype around Callum Walsh if you know him, if you know the boxing world. Who else do we got here? I gotta see. I'm not the most well versed in boxing, so I have to, you know, concede to that. Do you think Bruce Buffer will be the announcer of the? No, I don't think so, because he'll be at the Noche card, I'm pretty damn sure. I mean, I know John Anik is gonna be the commentator for the Canelo fight, but I highly doubt Buffer. That's kind of his brother's realm, you know what I mean? Michael Buffer is the boxing guy, and I don't know that he would impede on that unless they had some kind of agreement. So I'm not sure that Bruce Buffer would be involved with being a part of the that one. But you never know. Rock Band Fozzy, that's a funny name. Appreciate you for jumping in. Make sure you guys, if you guys are in here, make sure you give me a like on the video, please, while you're here, because, you know, you can just close that chat real fast, like, and hit that like button and then come back to the chat. But yeah, if you're not subscribed, please do that as well if you like the show. If you don't, I understand. I don't subscribe to things I don't much like either, and I apologize if you don't like it. But if you do, hopefully you enjoyed enough to give me a subscribe and hit that notification bell. So all the good stuff you got to do for YouTube just to keep my channel growing. I appreciate it. I'm a small channel, but you know, I try to do my best at covering all the fights here. So welcome in, appreciate you. We got Mohammed Alakel versus Travis Crawford, Rito Tsutsumi versus Javier Martinez, Christian Mbili versus Lester Martinez, Ivan Ditchko versus Jermaine Franklin, Marco Verde versus Marcos Osorio, Sultan Al Mohammed versus Martin Caraballo, I think. Man, these are some tough names. Serhii Boacek, Brandon Adams, and then Steve Nelson versus Reiko Santana. So that's the rest of your card, as you can see it in that picture on the right hand side. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on and talk about Canelo versus Crawford, because, you know, I have followed Canelo for a while, just, you know, kind of from the distance, because I haven't always been the biggest boxing fan. But I mean, I am a fan because it's a combat sport. It's the sweet science. It's been around forever. And, you know, back in the day, that's all I heard about was, when I was a kid, it was all about boxing. Mike Tyson and Holyfield and Foreman and all those big names. The history there, you know, like it's like 100 years older than MMA. It's crazy, something crazy like that. So, and, you know, people claim that it's the inferior sport because it only, you know, uses the hands, not even elbows or anything. But it is what it is. It's still a combat sport. It's been around for this long for a reason, and I still like it as a sport. So I like to cover it as much as I can. But I'm not an in-depth follower of boxing. So forgive me for that. And if you're here for just that, I'm sorry if you think I might not know enough. But that's just me being true and being real. So Terrence Crawford, 41-0, coming up a few weight classes to fight Canelo Alvarez, and yeah, it has potential to be a fun one, especially with Canelo being, you know, one of the few faces of boxing, I think, and being the weekend that it is. That's what you're used to seeing, is some Canelo action during this time, and not too many times has he missed fighting on a weekend like this. But he's on a 6 fight win streak, with wins over William Skull, Edgar Berlanga, Jamie Munguia, Jermell Charlo, John Ryder, and Gennady Golovkin. So some good fights there. He hasn't lost since 2022, where he lost to Dmitry Bivol. But his last finish was in 2021 when he KO'd Caleb Plant, which was that picture on the right, I believe. So yeah, man, Canelo's just kind of been cruising and winning fights by decision, and, you know, just doing his thing. But still, oh, it is listed as Zuffa Boxing. That's dope. I just noticed that. Okay, well, that answers one question. But yeah, Canelo being the, you know, the fucking living legend that he is at this point, for multiple reasons. His boxing ability, obviously, 63-2 with 2 draws. That's a crazy record, man. He's 35 years old, and he's been around for a long ass time. He's been fighting since he was a kid. And with Canelo coming in, like I said, just kind of having decision wins, I'm wondering if he's looking to get a huge win against a big name like Crawford, where people are wondering if he can even beat him or not, with the way he's looked in his previous fights, and you know, the fact that he seems to be wearing down a little bit. I heard here and there about the fact that maybe his footwork isn't as good anymore. He might have lost a little bit of half a step here or there. But on the flip side, people are saying maybe that's just him being comfortable where he is, knowing that he's getting into a fight with somebody who he feels, hey, listen, I can beat him. I'm surprised that UFC Noche is not in Vegas. Yeah, it's because this event is in Vegas. They didn't want, especially with Dana White and Zuffa Boxing promoting this event, they don't want to have the two events in this. I'm surprised they're having it on the same night, to be honest with you. But that's why they turned UFC Noche into a fight night, and they moved it to San Antonio because it was supposed to be in Mexico, and I think it was supposed to be a pay-per-view, and then they changed it over to a fight night because the venue wasn't ready, blah blah blah. We heard stuff like that happening leading up to Noche, and then they finally decided not to do it in Mexico in that venue because it wasn't ready. So they moved it to San Antonio, and yeah, they don't want to have two big events that are being promoted by basically the same person, and then have to go up against each other in the same city. That's tough. at least, you know, you get this side and you get this side. You know, it's not that far away in the means of the country, but they are on different sides, different states, and you get different audiences. If someone's not willing to travel to Vegas and lives around the San Antonio area or the neighboring countries, the neighboring states, they're gonna get to that UFC Noche fight card. So, you know, that's just how it goes. But it's smart business, I think, for the most part. It sucks for us MMA fans who are looking for that big UFC Noche fight card, especially since last year was the Sphere and how overly dramatized that was. And then to have it be followed up by a fight night in San Antonio, it's like, man, a little bit of a drop off, I guess. But you know, when you got the main man over there in Vegas promoting his first boxing match, and it's a big one like this, you gotta kind of understand. So I get it. When it comes down to it, the Rock Band, appreciate you. I saw you subscribed. I happened to look over at my phone and it told me, so appreciate you for that. But yeah, you can't blame him. So it's good business, and for him to be promoting a fight of this caliber is insane. But it's Dana White, you know. He's a smart businessman. So facts. I remember when UFC competed with Canelo. Yeah, when Canelo had to sit back on that chair and fucking wait for that main event of the UFC to finish while they put in some fucking some filler stuff for the fight card before they brought him out to fight, because they didn't want to go head to head. So they knew they weren't going to get the viewers until that UFC fight card was over. And that's how big the UFC has been in the past, and you know, can still be. But when Dana White's the one promoting it, he's going to be smart about it, make as much money as he can out of all of it. So, and it's fine, it's cool. And you know what, the UFC fight card is earlier in the night. By the time this main event hits, that UFC fight card will be over for at least an hour probably, or something close to that. So for fight fans, you get a bunch of big crazy fights you know, in MMA, and then you go over to boxing and you watch that. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's Canelo. And then, you know, we got Terrence Bud Crawford, and he you know, I feel like since he fought Errol Spence, he has been on an upward trajectory. Not that he wasn't great before, but you know, he's undefeated, 41-0. So it's like, but that Errol Spence fight was insane, which is why, you know, I went ahead and highlighted it here. He fought Madrimov after that and went to a unanimous decision. And all I've been hearing about is how, like, that fight wasn't the best for him. He looked, he had some holes in his game in that one. He didn't look up to standard the way he did against Spence, but maybe it's because that fight against Spence was like so crazy. And maybe, you know, it's like they can't all be home runs. He still got the win, and he still you know, wins a belt, another belt. So it's like, what do you want from the guy? He's still undefeated, 41-0. So now he's got his biggest test of yet, and he's jumping up weight classes to fight Canelo, and it's an exciting one. So I'm excited about it, and I'm not even the biggest boxing fan in the world. So and it's free on Netflix. Fucking A, what else do you want? What else do you want? You can't complain about the card. I mean, everyone's gonna complain when the UFC is no longer having pay-per-views next year. Still gonna complain about the cards, but you know what, at least you're not losing $80 to watch a card that has potential but isn't the best on paper. So, and I do that, and I say that because I'll say it all the time, this card has potential, because I'll see a few potential good fights in there, but a lot of times the card, like possibly you see this UFC Noche card, maybe not having the best potential or being the best on paper, but you never know. Sometimes you get the best fights out of those, and I know that's cliche to say as well, but listen, I'm trying to be positive here in a world full of negativity. Okay, so hopefully, you know, hopefully you understand that. But let's see what else we have on the lead up to Canelo versus Crawford. Maybe Canelo will entertain us with some more of his one-liners, calling people motherfuckers and saying shit like, generally, I don't give a fuck. I should have clipped off some of those to play on here because it is so funny to listen Canelo cuss. because you know English is his second language. He's gotten way better at speaking English, but man, the way that he cusses is the best. It's fucking entertaining. But you can't deny the elite status of Terrence Bud Crawford. So this is going to be a fun fight, and I can't wait to see the outcome. I have an event I have to be at, unfortunately in the manner that I have to be somewhere when these fights are happening, but I will have my phone in my hand. And the good thing about my phone is I have the fold and I get a big screen. So I don't have to try to like, what's going on here? I can open up that screen and watch, and I do. I'm sorry. I tell everybody I'm sorry. The fights are going to be here. I'll still listen and pay attention and interact, but you know what? The fights are here. So I'll be watching, but you damn sure know that I will watch the highlights later if I miss anything, and I will rewatch the fights on Sunday and come back on Sunday for the recap of both of these events, Canelo versus Crawford, and what we're going to get to now, Noche UFC. Let's get to it. Don't forget, Canelo versus Crawford, free on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you ain't got to pay shit. And if you do want to get Netflix because you don't have it, it's really not that bad of a price. So let's just hope that Netflix doesn't have issues with the live stream like they did with the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. But yeah, let's just hope for no problems there. So getting to Noche UFC, we have Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva. I talked earlier about the fact that you know, people kind of were expecting Diego's next fight to be against Yair Rodriguez with the little bit of beef that they have going, and the fact that I feel like that would be a great fight anyway. I think Diego Lopes has the advantage in that one, but you know, Yair Rodriguez has shown and proved that he still has it. He'll come out of nowhere with a big win, and you know, he's a great fighter still. So, but we did not get that fight. What we have here is Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva, and I kind of forgot, but I should have remembered to throw the Fighting Nerds glasses on. Not official, but you know, same thing. But these didn't do well for me last week because we had two Fighting Nerds on the card last weekend, and they both lost. Kyle Bajalio, Mauricio Rufy. Not a great showing for the Fighting Nerds last weekend. And, you know, Carlos Prates being the first one to get his first loss in the UFC versus Ian Gary. It's tough. It's tough, but they're all still great fighters. This isn't boxing where one loss, like, and everybody says, oh, he's shit. It's like, yeah, everyone in MMA calls fraud check, but I don't think so with the Fighting Nerds. I think this is just a way for them to learn and get better, and I think they'll bounce back, and it's always about the bounce back. How are they going to do after that first loss? And I feel like Prates came back and showed us how he's going to do after a loss, and that's getting that big fucking spinning back elbow KO, and yeah, it was impressive. So he's back on the come up, and that one loss didn't do shit for him. So I think Bajalio and Rufy will bounce back as well. They're both talented as hell. So now we got Jean Silva trying to keep his undefeated record in the UFC and trying to keep things alive for the Fighting Nerds as far as you know, not everybody losing hope on all of them. But I don't feel like that's valid anyway. I just mentioned why, so I won't harp on that. But Lopes versus Silva is a great fight for the main event. So, I mean, you can't down on this card too much. We got some other, you know, notable names on this card and some pretty decent matchups. So we'll go ahead and get through and go through all that right now, because this is what I do know as MMA. So I'll definitely dive a little deeper into these. And I usually like to cover the whole card, especially when we have some of this stuff going on down here in the lower half of the card that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So let's get to that now and start with the prelims. And we will start with the left picture there, the bottom of the left picture. We got the Ultimate Fighter logo there because this is the rescheduled Ultimate Fighter finale. There was some issues going on when they were supposed to fight, and oh, I forgot I still have these on. But yeah, there were some issues when they were supposed to fight initially. So we have Rodrigo Ceznando, versus Daniil Donchenko for the Ultimate Fighter finale. And says Nindo is 8-1 overall. Obviously, this is his first official UFC fight because the fights do not become official in the UFC until they get to the finale where they fight on a regular UFC card. So 11-2 for Donchenko. I'm trying to remember exactly how this went down for these guys, but I believe they were both a part of Daniel Cormier's team. Let me take a look because I'm trying to remember. Damn, I was hoping that would bring that up real quick, but it did not. So anyway, yeah, so we got both these guys coming in for the Ultimate Fighter finale, trying to get their first official win in the UFC and start off their UFC career the right way, and, you know, getting that contract and all of that. So a little bit delayed, but we got the Ultimate Fighter finale going on here. Next up, we have Montserrat Rendon versus Alice Pereira. No, this is not Alex Pereira's sister, although she looks like she could be, but she is 5-0, the youngest female UFC fighter, I guess, in history. She's 19 years old coming in, undefeated, 5-0, Brazilian fighter. She's a looker too, honestly. I mean, that picture there on what I put up may not be the best picture, but she's definitely a looker. So, but so is Rendon. She's got some insane eyes, and she's pretty cool. Like the guys I collab with, Combat Sports Today, I've done some fighter interviews, and I've gotten those because I collab with CST, Combat Sports Today. You can go and follow their YouTube page, follow them on social media everywhere. They're all over the place. They're super active. They cover all combat sports and breaking news, everything. So go follow them as well. I appreciate those guys. I'm a part of their team. I collab with them, and I do, you know, we haven't done staff picks in a minute, but it'll come back. But either way, we have some, they do a lot of fighter interviews and combat sports interviews, and I actually get to interview, if there's any hardcores out here that follow anything other than UFC, you might know some of the smaller organizations that are somewhat feeder leagues or regional organizations. But if you know of Brave FC, I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but if you have, I will be interviewing the president of Brave FC coming up on Sunday, and it should be released, if not right away on Sunday, early on Monday. So it's not normal to get to interview the president of a combat sports organization, especially one that it has had so many fighters from their organization making it to the UFC and becoming champions. Ilya Topuria, Hamzat Chimaev, to name a couple, have come from Brave FC. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So don't miss that. You can always go back on my channel. That's dope. Looking forward to that. Oh yeah, thanks Tua. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've got to interview a few other fighters, some older fighters, Daniel James, and then some guys that are somewhat new, like Rob Perez, the Wolf, who was fighting on fights for DBX, Dirty Boxing, and he was supposed to fight Rosenstruck for the title but got injured. But he'll be back, and he was a fun interview. I've interviewed Daniel James a couple times. Ask Brave President what makes them brave. I am interested in the name, so I mean, I'm gonna ask a version of that maybe. But yeah, so I don't know if you know, Mohamed Mokaev, you know, got released from the UFC after that shitty fight with Manel Kopp, and yeah, he got released from the UFC, so he wound up over at Brave. So I'm waiting to see when he's gonna fight over there. But I don't know if he's had a fight over there already or not, but either way, he's with that organization right now. So pretty cool stuff, and I'm excited for it. So anyway, go check that out. Combat Sports Today, I think it's CS Today News is the YouTube channel. But yeah, go check it out. Go follow them too. It's a good follow. Everywhere on social media too, if you want to stay up to date with stuff. But anyway, we had our one of our homies on there, MMA Fu, got to interview Rendon, and she was pretty cool. And it was in Spanish, but that's why Fu did it, because he is fluent in Spanish, and he did a great job with that interview, and it was awesome. So yeah, go check that out too. She is, I got these numbers backwards. She's actually 6-1 overall, and Rendon is no, that's right, 6-1. And then Pereira is 5-0, like I said, coming in at 19 years old. So I feel like this should be a good fight for some up and comers, and I feel like it could be an exciting one for the women. First women's fight for this card. So next up we have Alessandro Costa versus Alden Correa, and I believe Correa is making his UFC debut as well. Rendon's fought in the UFC, by the way. She's 1-1, but Pereira obviously making her debut. And then we got Alden Correa making his UFC debut. Where's he coming from? Let me take a look real fast. LFA, I believe. 5-2 in LFA. He's also fought in Fury. That was where he was. Fury FC is where he's actually coming from directly. He fought in LFA before that, though. So good up and comer coming in to fight Alessandro Costa. 14-4 overall, 2-2 in the UFC. Let's see, he's coming off of a win over Kevin Borjas, and he got a performance of the night bonus on that one, where he got a TKO win there. He fought and lost to Steve Erceg before that. He's fought Amir Albazi, so a couple good names in there that he's fought. He'll be fighting this up and comer UFC debut, Alden Correa. Next up we have, this is a hilarious one. I don't even know what to say about this. So Zach Reese, we know, 9-2 overall, 3-2 in the UFC, good fighter. But Cedric Dumas, his last name says it all, Dumas. Because he couldn't fight in his last fight because he couldn't get his ankle monitor off in time to be able to fight. How the fuck is he still in the UFC? I have no idea. But he got at like aggravated assault, fucking armed robbery, fucking home invasion, so all kinds of shit. And then he posted something on X not that long ago, and then he deleted it, saying that he has $13 in his bank account. He showed a screenshot talking about how it sucks to be an adult and having to pay for legal things. And it's like, well, stop getting in trouble, you fucking moron. Like, what are you doing? I don't feel bad for you when you have to pay a bunch of legal fees because you're doing some illegal, stupid shit. And then you have an ankle monitor that you can't get off in time in order to make some money in the UFC with who you fight for. Like, stay the fuck out of trouble. You're no John Jones. You're no Conor McGregor. You're damn sure none of them. So you're gonna be in trouble. And I don't know why the fuck the UFC has kept him around. It's not even like he's a great fighter that he's shown. He's 3-3 in the UFC. He last fought Mikhailo Zaychuk, where he lost by TKO in the first round back in April this year. And like I said, he had another fight scheduled and couldn't make it because right after that loss is when he got in trouble. Probably because he didn't get both of his checks because he's a dumbass and probably didn't train right or something. So I shouldn't talk that much shit to somebody who's a criminal, but I just don't understand it, bro. Like, what are we fucking doing? So anyway, he's fighting Zach Reese, who's a great fighter. He is coming off of a win over Dusko Todorovic by unanimous decision back in May. Before that, he lost to Azamat Bakoev. So he's fought twice already this year. This will be his third fight this year. He's 1-1. But 3-2 overall in the UFC. And he'll be fighting Dumas, and hopefully he makes him look like more of a Dumas. Next up, we have Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Gurule. I'm not sure how to say his last name. It's a tough one. But Aguilar, 3-2 in the UFC, 11-3 overall. And then Gurule is 10-1 overall, 0-1 in the UFC. Take a look real quick. He lost to Ode Osborne. That was his first loss of his career. He's a Contender Series guy, also coming from LFA. And then Aguilar is 3-2 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Rafael Estevam back in February. So this should be a pretty good fight here. Next up, we have the second women's fight of the night, and it's a big one. Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. And, you know, Tatiana Suarez's last fight was the fight for the title where she lost. But, man, it was her first loss of her career, and she was fighting for a title. So it's not like she lost to some scrub. So she's now 7-1 in the UFC. She loses the title fight to Weili Zhang. And then she gets bumped to the fucking prelims. It's like, wow, talk about just fucking disrespectful, just dropping her to the prelims like nothing. But Amanda Lemos is down there too, so I gotta say that. But Lemos has been on a you know, decent, I don't know, she's been doing all right. Yasmin Lucindo, she got a win in her last fight. Lost to Vera Jandiroba, but Jandiroba's fighting for the vacant title coming up because Weili Zhang's moving up a weight class to fight Valentina Shevchenko. So Jandiroba, I can understand that one. And she has a win over the person that Jandiroba has is fighting for that title, which is Mackenzie Dern. And Amanda Lemos got a unanimous decision win with the fight of the night bonus over Mackenzie Dern. And that was February of last year, so not even that long ago. So if she can, you know, and her other loss was to Weili Zhang, who was the champ at the time. That was her fighting for the belt as well. So both these women have fought for a belt, and both have lost to the same person, obviously, because Zhang has been the title holder for a while. But yeah, so we're gonna have this matchup here, number 4 versus number 5 in the women's strawweight division. It should be a good one. I got Tatiana Suarez coming out of this one with a win. Hopefully she bounces back in a good way and gets a big win here against Lemos. Next up, we have Claudio Puelles versus Joaquin Silva. And Puelles is 12-4 overall, 5-3 in the UFC. Silva's 13-5 overall, 6-5 in the UFC. Puelles is coming off, he's on a 2-fight losing streak with losses to Dan Hooker and Faraz Zahim, who was supposed to fight on this card but had a death in the family. So that's unfortunate. So condolences to him and his family. But then we got Joaquin Silva, who is coming off of a loss as well to Drakkar Klose back in May of last year. So he hasn't fought in over a year. So he's looking to get back in there and get a win, as well as Puelles. Next up, we have Jose Medina versus Dusko Todorovic. Medina's 11-5 overall, 0-2 in the UFC. So he's looking to get his first UFC win. Todorovic is 12-6 overall, 3-6 in the UFC. And this is your featured prelim fight right before we hit the main card. So hopefully it'll be a good one to lead us into that main card. And as I said, Medina's 0-2 with losses to Zach Reese and Tiba Gautier. Two pretty good fighters there. I can't blame him much. TKO lost to Gautier in March of this year, and then Zach Reese, he lost by unanimous decision. And then Todorovic is coming off a loss as well, if I remember correctly. Actually, he's on a 3-fight losing streak with losses to Christian Leroy Duncan, Mansour Abdul Malik, and Zach Reese. So he's looking to get back in the win column, as well as Jose Medina looking to get his first win in the UFC. Should be a good fight, I think, hopefully, with both of them trying to get that win. Let's get into this main card, starting with Santiago Luna versus Kwang Lee, happening in the bantamweight division. So we got Santiago Luna, 21 years old, 6-0 overall, making his UFC debut versus Kwang Lee. Hold on one second. What the hell is happening here? First of all, my mouse is like acting up. And second of all, this speed on this thing starting over and over again is crazy fast. I'm going to slow that down. But yeah, so we got Lee versus Luna, and Luna's looking to get his UFC debut win, 6-0 overall, and he's coming from Tough Enough. Oh, Tough Enough was the last his last event that he fought in and won. And then Kwang or Kwang? Kwang Lee, I think it might be. 9-2 overall, 1-2 in the UFC. And hold on, let me get to. I'm losing track of everything here because my mouse is really like driving me crazy. I'm gonna have to switch it out or something because it just doesn't want to work right. I think my battery's dying. Luckily, I think I have a backup here somewhere, so I might have to switch that out. Anyway, Kwang Lee was 7-0 in LFA, but he's 1-2 in the UFC. He is coming off his first win in the UFC where he got a performance of the night bonus over Gaston Bolanos. Let me turn this on and see if this one works better because that shit is driving me crazy. Yep, that's better. But he lost to Long Zhao and Chris Gutierrez before. So he's looking to extend that win streak to 2 and get a win over the debut of Santiago Luna in the men's bantamweight division. Next up, a pretty damn good fight here. Alexander Hernandez versus Diego Fajeda in the men's lightweight division. Hernandez 17-8 overall, 9-7 in the UFC. And nothing big there in those categories. 7-3 by KO TKO, 2-1 by sub, and 8-4 by decision. He is on a 3-fight win streak though. And Diego Fajeda 19-6 overall, 10-6 in the UFC. 7-0 by sub, that's pretty good. Never been finished on the ground. 7 wins by sub. So 7-3 by decision and 5-3 by KO TKO. He is coming off a loss though. So I'm gonna have to fix that. I don't know why it is going so fast. It's driving me crazy. Anyway, Alexander Hernandez is coming off of a win. Actually, he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's the win over Chase Hooper, which I forgot. That was August of this year, where he got that big KO win over, or TKO win over Chase Hooper when he rocked his jaw here and finished him on the ground in the first round. But he beat Kurt Holloway before that in March, so this will be his 3rd fight of the year. And then he beat Austin Hubbard before that. So he was on this Ultimate Fighter killing spree, which is sad to say. But before he was on the 3-fight win streak, he was on a 2-fight losing streak with losses to Bill Algeo and Damon Jackson. So he's looking to extend to 4 fights in a row with a win over Diego Fajeda. But Fajeda's coming off a loss, so he's looking to get back in the win column. He lost to Grant Dawson. Before that, he was on a 2-fight win streak with wins over Mateusz Rebecki and Michael Johnson, where he got 2 performance of the night bonuses in those 2 fights. Claudio Montana, this could be the 2nd worst lineup of the year. I get it, man. I understand. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and cap and say that this is the great card or nothing. It's not. It kind of sucks, but I am excited for the main event. So I'm just trying to go through and see if I can find the good in all of this. There is some good fights in here. I like Tatiana Suarez fight. I know it could be boring, but when she fights, especially if you know, it's all grappling and wrestling type shit, but you never know. Sometimes you get some exciting fights out of those, and then some of these other ones might surprise us too. But there's a lot of UFC debuts happening and a lot of unknown names going on this card, so I 100% understand where you're coming from with that, saying it might be the 2nd worst lineup of the year. It sucks to say, but yeah, I mean, fuck. But you know what? We got the boxing match going on as well, Canelo versus Crawford, so at least you get a secondary thing to watch if you want to move over there or jump back and forth and see what's happening. By the time this is over, though, they'll probably still be in some of the not prelims, but earlier fights on that boxing card, so you'll be able to make it to that Crawford and Canelo fight and see how that goes down. But yeah, next up we have Kelvin Gastelum coming back and versus Dustin Stoltzfus. And Gastelum's 19-10 overall, 13-10 in the UFC. He's never been stopped on the feet. 5-0, 5-3 by sub, and 8-7 by decision. He is coming off a loss. Stoltzfus is 16-7 overall, 3-6 in the UFC. That's a horrible record, so that sucks for him. He's 3-2 by KO TKO, 6-2 by sub, and 6-3 by decision. He's also coming off a loss. Let's take a look at Gastelum and see what he's got going on. Coming off a loss to Joe Pyfer by unanimous decision. So Joe Pyfer being the guy that I thought maybe would stop Gastelum on the feet with the way that Gastelum kind of, you know, gets hit a lot sometimes and a lot of times gasses out. I'm thinking Joe Pyfer's going to catch him when he's tired with one of those big fucking punches of Pyfer's and maybe be the first one to finish Gastelum on the feet. And it didn't happen. He took him to unanimous decision, but still gets the win over Kelvin Gastelum. Before that, he had a good fight against Daniel Rodriguez, but you can see the damage on his face as well. So like I said, he gets hit. But I don't know if Stoltzfus has what it takes to beat someone at the caliber of Gastelum. Whether Gastelum hasn't looked the best as of late or not, you know, he still has fought like elite level competition, and he's been up there in the rankings for quite a while. And you know, he's just one of those guys that it's a well-known name. So I don't know if Stoltzfus has what it takes with a record like 3-6, coming off a loss to Nursultan Ruziboyev. He has a win-loss, like major record that way. A loss to Ruziboyev, a win before that to Marc-Andre Barrio. That was a TKO win in the first round, and he got a performance of the night bonus on that one. So that was a good one for Stoltzfus. But before that, lost to Bruno Fajeda, won against Punahele Sariano. So his last 2 wins, he's gotten performance of the night bonuses. So if he gets a win, it's going to be a good one because he'll get the bonus as what his history of his record is showing. But you know, he gets a lot of losses in there too. So, and Kelvin Gastelum, like I said, probably one of the higher level fighters that Stoltzfus has gone up against. So we'll see how this one winds up. Maybe we'll get a quick finish, and that'll make for some excitement going on in this card. All right, so we'll move on to Rafa Garcia versus Jared Gordon. Garcia is 17-4 overall, 5-4 in the UFC. So 1-1 by KO TKO, but 8-0 by sub. Never been finished on the ground. 8 wins there, the most out of any of those categories. So that's something to look out for with Rafa Garcia. And then he's 7-3 by decision, coming off a win. Jared Gordon is 21-7 overall, 9-6 in the UFC. His most wins come by decision. He's got 2 losses there as well. Not much going on the ground. He's 2-1, and then 8-4 by KO TKO. So he's coming off a win as well. If he gets to the ground, Gordon might be in trouble with Rafa Garcia being 8-0 there. Never been finished, and has 8 wins there. That's a stat to look at when you're thinking about maybe betting on this, but or just making picks in general. So let's take a look at Garcia. He's coming off a win over Vince Pichel by unanimous decision, which Pichel's he's definitely a fucking durable guy. He'll take a lot of damage, and it's hard to get him out of there. So to take him to decision makes sense, and he did get the win. Before that, he lost to Grant Dawson. He's had a couple of other wins, Clay Guida, Mahashate. So those are his most recent. He's 5-4 in the UFC, like I said. And Jared Gordon will be his opponent in the lightweight division. I think it was lightweight, right? Yes. So he's coming off a win over Thiago Moises in the first round, TKO win for him there. Before that, he lost to Nasrat Hakparas. But, Jared Gordon, kind of the same thing. A little bit of back and forth, win-loss shit. I mean, he should have won that fight against Paddy Pimblett. I feel like that should have been a win for him on that one. It was really close, and I get it. They gave it to Paddy, but Gordon could have easily won that one had they scored that a tiny bit differently. So next up, we have our co-main event, and this was a late replacement. David Rodriguez replacing Raul Rosas Jr., who, has been fighting in the UFC Noche cards and is a big deal when it comes to Mexico with how young he is and the success he's had, but he got injured, so he wasn't able to make it for this one. David Martinez steps in to fight Rob Font. A vet. He's, been around, done a lot. And, he's fighting David Martinez, who only has one fight in the UFC, but coming off a win. So, let's see. Font is 12-7 in the UFC, 9-0 by KO TKO, so that's a good stat there. But look at Martinez is 10-0. But I would assume most of Font's came while he's been in the UFC. So higher level of competition. He might edge that one out. 4-1 by sub. David Martinez hasn't lost or won on the ground. And then 9-7 by decision for Font. 2-1 for Martinez. Both of them are coming off wins. Rob Font's coming off a 2-fight win streak. Let's take a look at Font and see who he's got those 2 wins against. Jean Matsumoto and Kyler Phillips. So some pretty decent opponents there getting the win. His last loss was to Davison Figueiredo back in 2023. So it's been a minute since he's lost. He hasn't been fighting that often. 1 fight in 24 and 1 fight so far this year. And that loss was in 23. But he did have 3 fights that year as well, where he got a win over Adrian Yanez and got a performance of the night bonus, and then lost to Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo, which are tough fights. So, and he's fighting David Martinez, going for his 2nd win in the UFC, because it's only his 2nd fight in the UFC, coming off the Contender Series. He got a win over Simon Oliveira in his 1st fight in the UFC with a performance of the night bonus there. It was a 1st round TKO win for him. And then he got a win on the Contender Series by unanimous decision. So, I mean, again, not the best card of the year, not the best card overall, but you know what? It's what we got. And it's for Noche UFC. And the more I've dug into these, the more I'm like, fuck, man. It's harder to deny that it's just not a great card. But you know what? Again, we have 2 big events going on this weekend, so maybe we'll get the best out of the boxing match, or maybe we'll get the best out of this main fight, or this main event for this card, which is Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva. Again, fighting nerds looking to keep one of their guys undefeated here, Jean Silva. And I mean, he's definitely one of the best guys on the team for sure. I mean, we've seen Rufy with the big knockout. But you know, he only had 3 fights in UFC and he hadn't lost yet until this last fight. And then we had Kyle Bahalio, who seemed to be the one that might make it to a title fight before anybody, which he could have had he won that fight against Imavov. That was definitely one of those fighting for top contender spot. Even though they have Fluffy and RDR on their heels too, but Imavov got that win, so sucks for Bahalio, but hopefully he'll bounce back well. But yeah, and then we got Jean Silva or Prates, who lost already, but yet he bounced back and got a great comeback win to get back in that win column. So now we got Jean Silva trying to hold on to that undefeated record in the UFC, and I say that because he's 16-2 overall. But yeah, he's undefeated in the UFC. All the fighting nerds were until like this past year. They've all lost now until, you know, Silva. We'll see if he gets the win here against Diego Lopes. But Diego Lopes is 26-7 overall, 5-2 in the UFC. Look at that KO column. They both have double digits in wins. Diego Lopes 10-2, but Jean Silva 12-0. So that's pretty impressive. But look at Diego Lopes in the submission column, 12-0 there, while Jean Silva is 3-0. So I mean, obviously Jean Silva's never been finished at all on the feet or on the ground. He's 1-2 by decision. So if it gets to decision, both these guys have losing records there. So that just tells me it's probably not going to get to decision. So that's an upside and a plus for us that are like, damn, this card is not great. But yeah, Jean Silva's on a 5-fight win streak because he's 5-0 in the UFC, and then Diego Lopes is coming off a loss to Volkanovski for the title. So this would be a great win for Jean Silva to beat someone who just fought for the title and you know, and continue being undefeated and just being the step up in competition that he needs. So let's take a look at Diego Lopes before we get into Silva anymore. Diego Lopes coming off that loss, like I said, to Volkanovski for... Oh, no. Was that for the title? Yeah, that was for the title, wasn't it? How come they don't fucking show that here? That's strange. Anyway, it was a fight of the night for sure. So, it was a hell of a fight for him. I mean, before that, he got the unanimous decision win over Brian Ortega, but damn, he was a second away from getting the win over Ortega, because he knocked him. I mean, he basically knocked him out on his feet and Ortega was dropping to the ground with one of the punches that Lopes landed on him, and then he fucking followed it up with a second punch that basically woke up Ortega, and he didn't even fall all the way to the ground. He woke back up, stood up, and kept getting hit. But man, Ortega is a tough motherfucker and durable as hell. So and that's not a good thing for him, considering the way we've seen him fight. He just gets hit way too much. It's insane. But that was at the last UFC Noche last year, O'Malley versus Dvalishvili. But before that, he beat Dan Ige in that that was when Dan Ige stepped in on like a 4-hour notice. It was crazy for UFC 303. But Ige stepped up, gave him a good fight, and lost, but only by unanimous decision. So the past 3 fights for Lopes have been unanimous decisions, whether he won or lost, but they've been good fights. So that's why I have faith in this main event. And he's fighting Jean Silva, who is a maniac and likes to bark, which is crazy. He beat the living shit out of Bryce Mitchell, which he won his last fight against by ninja choke in the second round. And I mean, he's on this 5-fight win streak because he's 5-0 in the UFC. 3 out of those 5 fights, he's gotten bonuses on performance of the night, fight of the night against Drew Dober, where he won by doctor stoppage. Oh, let me change this because you'll see the picture of that right there on the left. And then there's a picture on the right of him landing a kick on Bryce Mitchell. But yeah, he got that fight of the night bonus against Drew Dober. Doctor stoppage by cut, as you can see by all the damage on his face. He beat Melsik Bagdasarian by TKO in the first round. And then Charles Jourdain, he beat by TKO in the second round. And then his first fight in the UFC was a TKO win in the first round over Weston Wilson. He got into the UFC off of Contender Series by beating Kevin Viejos by unanimous decision. But yeah, all 5 of his fights in the UFC have all been finishes. All of them have been TKOs except for one, which was sub, which was this last fight against Bryce Mitchell, where everyone said if it gets to the ground, Bryce Mitchell's going to dominate. And Jean Silva beat him up on the feet, took him to the ground, and submitted him. So he was proven a point there, and point was proven for sure. So, yeah, that's your main event. Diego Lopes versus Jean Silva. So let's get to these fight wheel predictions. We'll see how we did last week and make the picks for this week. So I do the fight wheel predictions because I suck at picking myself, so I go ahead and let it be completely random, and I have the fight wheel predict. It's just a fun little thing I like to do, so hopefully you don't mind it. And it just takes a couple minutes, and we'll see how it does next week when we go back over it. So looking at what happened last week with the fight wheel, we had BSD winning, which was correct. Paul Craig winning, which was not correct. He lost and retired. Pitbull didn't get to fight because his opponent couldn't make weight, so that one's void. Reese McKee beating Axel Sola, that was incorrect. Balaji Oki beating Mason Jones, that was incorrect. And Kyle Bahalio beating Nasruddin Imavov, that was incorrect as well. So the fucking fight wheel went 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 4 for the fight wheel. Not great for the fight wheel this past week. But there has been weeks in the past where it went 4 and 1 or fucking 5 and 0, 6 and 0, depending on which fight night it was or if it was a pay-per-view. I couldn't remember. But anyway, fight wheel did not do well last week. So let's see what the fight wheel has for us this week for Noche UFC. Let's get the wheel going and make some picks here. Random predictions by the fight wheel. And the first one will be Santiago Luna to beat Huang Lee. Yep. So there's your first winner. Luna beating Huang Lee. First fight of the night. And there's your first prediction for the fight wheel. Next fight. Let's see what the fight wheel has for us for UFC Noche. Oh shit, main event right away. Diego Lopes getting the win over Jean Silva to end his undefeated record in the UFC and to keep those fighting nerds on the losing streak. That's crazy. it's definitely a possibility. I'm not sure that I see that being what happens, but yeah, I mean, Diego Lopes is definitely wanting to get back in that win column after losing in that title fight, and yeah, he's definitely has a hard fight against Jean Silva. But oops, I put Silva, it's Lopez. What the fuck am I doing? So the fight wheel predicts that Diego Lopes will win in that main event. So let's see what we got next. 2 down, 4 to go. Here we go. Fight wheel predictions for Noche UFC. Rafa Garcia getting the win over Jared Gordon. I'm not sure how to feel about that one, but definitely a possibility. So we'll get that other name out of there. 3 down, 3 to go, halfway through. Fight wheel predictions, totally random. Here we go. Next up, we have Diego Ferreira to beat Alex Hernandez. I'm not sure if that's the way that one's going to go either. So the fight wheel might not be doing that well this week. Again. But we'll see. I mean, that's why they're totally random. It's done well at times and not so well at other times, like last week. So totally random. We'll see what happens. 2 fights left for the fight wheel predictions for UFC Noche. And we got David Martinez to beat Rob Font. I mean, that is a possibility. So we can't count that one out. All right, so that leaves us with Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. And this one I feel like should be Gastelum, but we'll see what the fight wheel predicts. Hopefully we don't lose any of these fights on this card like we did last week. And yeah, we got Kelvin Gastelum beating Dustin Stoltzfus. And those are your fight wheel predictions for UFC Noche. We got Luna beating Lee, Lopez beating Silva, Garcia beating Jared Gordon, Fajeda beating Hernandez, Martinez to beat Rob Font, and Kelvin Gastelum to beat Dustin Stoltzfus. Those are your fight wheel predictions for UFC Noche. And yeah, that's it for the preview for these events. Oh my God, I'm spilling everything. And if my mouse wasn't messed up before, it might be now. I just spilled my whole drink in it. Oh, well, good thing I'm at the end of the show. So I was just a little parched. I needed to have a sip and I spilled everywhere. No worries. All right. So we got UFC Noche happening Saturday. Earlier, it's a 3 p.m. start time for the main card. That's Arizona time. So you'll have to look it up for your time zone, wherever you might be. And yeah, that's the main card. The prelims will be starting at noon. So earlier start time. That way you can make it to take a look at the Canelo versus Crawford main event. So this fight card should be done and ready to be switched over to the boxing match when, by the time the fight card ends. So, and by the time it's ready to go for the boxing match. So yeah, come back on Sunday for a recap of both events. Hopefully we'll get some good fights out of both of them, and hopefully those main events come through with some really good outcomes and really exciting matches. So that's it for me. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thanks for these subscribe. Thanks for subscribing, Rock Band. Appreciate that. Claudio, if you're not subscribed, please do. Make sure everybody hits that like button before you get out of here. I appreciate all the interaction in the chat. Big Boars MMA as usual. Matua, Rock Band, and Claudio. And I think that was it at the moment. Yeah, Big Boars MMA. I think I said that. So yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat for the interactions. I appreciate you as always. Thanks for the support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, do all the good stuff for YouTube. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Enjoy the fights. Peace.